ADP is the only thing that matters. We're going to test if that is true or not in today's thought experiment video. No player on this team we are about to draft on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Davis, will be drafted ahead of average draft position. An entire team of ADP fallers. Let's see what it looks like.
It's short king summer, dude. It just feels like no one in fantasy sports ever learns anything. Does he mistime it, or is Brock Bowers just a grown man? Brock Bowers is just a grown man. Dare I say, Rich, football might be back. In the words of Lane Johnson, this offense looks constipated. It's short king summer.
There are many ways to draft a good fantasy football team. I think that we all know that. But one of the most surefire ways to guarantee that the individual team you're drafting is a team that projects well, a team that is going to look good in weeks 15, 16, and 17 on Underdog Fantasy is going to be taking guys who fall in average draft position. That's also a great way to get unique combos. Guess what? If I got Jonathan Taylor on this team at pick 30 as we draft out of the 106, be a pretty unique combo, and it'd be a team that projects pretty good. So for the course of this draft, we are only going to be able to draft players as long as they are relatively valued to the market, right? So I couldn't take Puka Nacua here at 7. I can only take a player after their average draft position. So at the top of the queue, obviously it'll be a little bit different when we get down into the draft, but we are going to select either Bijan or CeeDee here. In fact, look, there we go. Our very first ADP faller, an ADP of 4. We get Bijan Robinson at 6. And then we're going to come back in round 2. And basically, we're going to keep doing this exercise of trying to get nothing but the best ADP values in the market in this draft. So in this exercise to attempt to draft, like my good friends Justin Herzig and Michael Leone, who are basically two of the best ball drafters on the planet, we are also, I think, going to find ourselves getting guys that we don't have a ton of exposure to. I have the overlay over here letting me know how much, what percentage and how much of these guys I have drafted. And we are about to pick at pick 19. Ladd McConkey, pick 18.2, is going to help us stick to our code of not drafting anyone before ADP. So we begin Bijan Robinson and Ladd McConkey, which weirdly is going to be a pairing that is well represented because where their ADPs line up right here at 4 and 21, you're going to see a lot of overlap there, but that's okay. We are going to let the rest of the draft, we're going to kind of let the room give us what they want. If it's a slappy room, we're going to end up with a bunch of running backs. If it's a more of a boomer room, we're going to end up with lots of good value at wide receiver, but it'll be interesting to see what we get given. This will be one of our first inflection points. We have one running back, one wide receiver, and we're going to be able to pick multiple guys as our pick is 30. Garrett Wilson is picked 24.9. Marvin Harrison is 25.9. Tyreek Hill, Terry McLaurin, Rashee Rice. Technically, we could pick any of these players. So there we are already kind of granting ourselves a little fun combination. Looks like the biggest ADP value is with Marvin Harrison. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that him adding this size, I've heard, some YouTube comments like, Marvin Harrison, he already was kind of slow, only broke 1 tackle last year. I think the added size will help him. And I think there's a good chance they kick him into the slot this year. So the Ladd McConkey, Marvin Harrison Jr. pairing, not that common by average draft position, particularly in this time-boxed contest. We are drafting this in the Hound Dog on Underdog Fantasy. And I think there's a pretty good chance that we end up with a rather large ADP faller, maybe one of the quarterbacks in round. So by the letter of the law, we're going to have a couple choices here, depending on what the 2 drafters ahead of me do. We have Ted McMillan, DJ Moore, Jaden Daniels. And I think for the sake of this exercise, I am going to give myself the fractional ADP value. So Travis Hunter is 43.2. When we already have Justin Herbert, who routinely falls after ADP, Kyler Murray available, I don't think it's necessary to take Jaden Daniels, though I think it could be fun. I think for the practice of this exercise, we should take DJ Moore, right? If the goal of what I'm trying to accomplish with this thought experiment is what type of teams do you get where all you do is accumulate value? If I were to go plug this team into one of the best ball tools and say, how much ADP value did I get on this team? Which is kind of the function of what we're trying to do. I think that DJ Moore there probably was the correct one. And it is surprising to me that an ADP room on Underdog in a cheaper draft, the Hound Dog $6 entry fee, surprising that it would be a little bit of a boom room, because the last 3 ADP values have all been wide receiver. Looking ahead here, I'm going to want to retain maximum flexibility. The biggest ADP value are Metcalf and Flowers, who are available at wide receiver. That's about a half round discount on each of them. I can take Joe Mixon. I can, RJ Harvey at 54. We are picking at exactly 54. I think I'm going to take Mixon because for the purpose of this exercise, I want to retain maximum flexibility, and I don't want it to be, okay, we took a wide receiver at 68, we took a wide receiver at 67, I have to take a guy I absolutely don't love at 91. Through 5 rounds, we got Bijan 2 spots after ADP, Lad McConkey 1 spot after ADP, Marvin Harrison Jr. We got slightly after ADP, and then DJ Moore as well. Mixon, we took ahead. We got a slight little value on Joe Mixon. Not a great value, but there you go. I mean, that already we have got a semi-unique pairing of players just by sort of being a sophisticated auto drafter, which is not the worst thing in the world. And so this is sort of what I thought would happen. But if you look at the ADP values here, we're hewing pretty close. Henderson, Olave, Jennings, James Conner would all be theoretical selections. So I kept the options open. Funnily enough, despite the fact that I have Henderson ranked pretty close to ADP, I just end up not taking much of him, mostly for structural reasons. I can take Henderson or Jennings. We've got the correlation in week 17 with DJ Moore. I like Juwan Jennings. I like the odds of being able to get Brock Purdy after ADP, honestly, more than I like the odds of being able to get Kyler Murray or Caleb Williams after ADP. So I think Jennings there was the right move. And it makes me feel better about taking Mixon in round 5, because the only other option there would have been to take a running back who, frankly, in Travion Henderson, I think he's fine, but I don't love. We're looking at a spot now where we're in a really interesting pocket of the draft on Underdog, where my rankings are pretty far divorced from ADP. By my rankings and by ADP, we're getting a value here on Caleb Johnson. I have him ranked 68th overall. We are going to take him here at 78. I suppose it is sort of interesting. We haven't gotten a huge faller here yet, and I am realizing as I am doing this thought experiment, it's going to be a little bit self-selecting, because no one's going to be able to fall that far because of the rules of this exercise. I can't take anyone before their average draft position, which means that the most anyone is really going to be able to fall is, I suppose, by about a round, because the team, I'm drafting here out of the 6 hole. My team is sort of functioning like an auto drafter with some rules in place, for positional allocations. But I kind of like the tenor of this team, which I guess is not surprising. You want to have the absolute best team for a Twitter screenshot? Just get a bunch of ADP value, right? All right, huge shout out to user RPH, who saved me from having to take Patrick Mahomes. Interesting that the sidekick here with Kyler Murray and Caleb Williams is telling me to reach ahead of average draft position. That is not what we're doing here. And frankly, again, this draft is just hewing pretty close to ADP. There just has not been a huge guy for me to take. I mean, in fact, the only guy that I can take by the rules of this exercise is Brian Robinson Jr. At pick 88.6 on average. We got him at pick 91. So like a really small ADP value there. And we've got a weird build 4 and 4. Bijan Robinson, Joe Mixon, Caleb Johnson, Brian Robinson Jr., Lad McConkey, Marvin Harrison Jr., DJ Moore, and Juwan Jennings. None of these also lined up as a double stack. So again, it will be a little interesting to see what sort of quarterbacks are available to us, because I'm thinking that if we don't get Kyler, it might be kind of hard to push Purdy around. So, this could end up being, God forbid, this could end up being an Anthony Richardson team, a Tyler Shuck team, a Russell Wilson team. Of course, I will make sure that it abides by loose roster construction rules, and there goes Kyler Murray. So we're not going to be able to take him. And I'm also, because I pick at 102, again, by the letter of the law, I'm also not going to be able to take Caleb Williams here, which is fine. I'm willing to sacrifice a couple shekels of expected value on this team in order to fulfill the thought experiment, because the thought experiment for these is paramount. But I also do think it's very interesting to note, just from a strategy perspective, what are you trying to accomplish in other drafts? What are you trying to accomplish in Best Ball Mania? That right about this range of the draft, the real-time assistance tools are telling you, the ADP value matters, but it doesn't matter that much, right? It's telling me to take Caleb, and this is right around where he goes. So we're at pick 102. So our options are Cam Scattaboo, Travis Kelce, Bo Nix. Again, for structural reasons, I think I'm going to take Travis Kelce here, because I don't know what the other tight end spots will look like, or if I'll want to take Cade Otton as an ADP follower. I think Travis Kelce obviously is a fairly strong pick. So now our gamble is, will Caleb Williams or Brock Purdy make it to us after ADP? I really hope so. All right, well, the room had different things in mind for us. The Brock Purdy and Caleb Williams go to the absolute same draft. We're picking at 115. Huge ADP value here with Tracy. I think to execute the game, I think we have to show what happens when you get these big ADP values. This is effectively a full round on Tracy. Yes, it is a fifth running back. I wouldn't say that this is an optimal strategy that I would do most of the time. And that's why, this is why, and Tracy goes anyway. So my options now, I'm taking Rashid Shaheed. It's the slightly worse ADP value. Shaheed has an average draft position of 112. I took him at 115. Just again, my mind is kind of wrinkled here by doing this exercise, because it just there hasn't been a plethora of guys available. Even in round 10, you would start to think like, oh, there'd be round 9 guys available in round 10. So maybe I'm actually demonstrating the opposite, right? Maybe I'm actually demonstrating why freeing yourself from the shackles of ADP, maybe that's a good idea for the next thought experiment video. But things are getting kind of tight for us at quarterback. Justin Herbert just goes, I hope we're able to figure. All right, well, there is not really any quarterback available that fits us here. We are about to pick at 126. I mean, look, man, I'm not happy about it. You're not happy about it. But we're taking Travis Etienne at pick 126. He goes at 119.9 on average. Now, again, pretty interesting thing. Etienne, a little bit of a faller. So we have 5 running backs, 5 wide receivers, 1 tight end. They've all been drafted after their regular average draft position on Underdog Fantasy. Things are getting a little bit tight at the quarterback position. We might end up with a little bit of an unstacked, uncorrelated mess. But this is the service that I'm providing. I'm taking deep thoughts from my brain and putting them into low expected value teams on Underdog. All right, I think we might run hot here at quarterback. Stroud 133. Stroud is going to correlate with Joe Mixon, which I think is fine. Trevor Lawrence also, by the letter of the law, would be allowed in this, and he correlates with ETN. We could take De'Ami Brown later. In fact, I'm going to opt for that. I'm going to do Lawrence at 134. Again, not really an ADP value, but I think I will allow myself a little bit of a De'Ami Brown round 17, I think is his ADP, as a little bit of a treat. But I was getting some heart palpitations there thinking about not having a stacked or correlated quarterback. Now, we've clearly entered a portion of the draft that I would say, like, literally ADP doesn't matter. These are all $1 players. And I'm absolutely right to say that. That is the research that has been found by multiple people who have done these studies. I think Hayden Wink says it best. It's like, these are all $1 players if you were doing an auction. But that's not what we're doing here. So we are going to select for this team, Dallas Goedert. Again, about a round of ADP value. I hope the bye weeks are right. Yes, week 10 for Kelsey, week 9 for Goddard. I suppose I should have made... Well, you know what? If we were not doing this exercise, I would have taken Brenton Strange, right? I would have taken Strange for the stack. But again, we're just scooping up those sweet, sweet Sklansky bucks of ADP. You're in firm get your guy territory so much that I've never seen this before. Tyler Shuck right now is top of the sidekick, which I just think is very funny. And there's basically no ADP values. I mean, this is maybe even the funnier thing, is that the lone ADP value in my entire queue is Adam Thielen, who I will take as our wide receiver 6. I believe that Bryce Young has already been selected in this draft. He has. So we are unlikely to find a correlated second quarterback. But it can't be too often that you would be on the clock in round 14 and there wouldn't be some guy hanging around 10 spots after ADP. I think that is sort of fascinating and something that I'm going to be kind of keeping my eye on as I draft for the next couple days or so, because I think we all have these anecdotal examples like, oh, I saw Tua go 30 spots after ADP. Should I even take Tua 30 spots after ADP if I don't have Tyreek, Waddle, A-Chain, or Jonnu? Obviously, I think the most famous example of this is the Joe Burrow. Do I not take Joe Burrow at the 4-5 turn with Jamar Chase in an attempt to sort of goad the room into letting me take Joe Burrow at the 6-7 turn? Because obviously Joe Burrow, if you get to week 17, you're going to want Joe Burrow with Chase. You are not going to want Joe Burrow with Mike Gesicki in week 17. It's sort of another example of that. We are on the clock here. Well, here we go. Here's going to be our second quarterback. We do have a week 17 correlation already in there, not on his team, but with the week 17 opponent for Cam Ward with the New Orleans Saints. And Cam Ward is one of our values here. I have Geno Smith ranked higher, but no correlation. So there you go, Cam Ward, because I at the very least, I will allow myself to take in round 18 if I absolutely must. I will allow myself to take a Chimere DK, an Alec Iomanner, a Tyler Lockett, just to ensure we have some semblance of correlation on this team. So pick 174, Cam Ward. I don't have the heart to tell the sidekick that we just got sniped on Tyler Shuck. All right, so we're at pick 187. Again, literally, this is sort of unbelievable type stuff. We're at pick 187. This is the 16th round. And by the letter of the law, there is one skill position player we could take, who I don't even like taking, 1.8% of Keenan Allen. I wonder, I haven't been paying close enough attention. There's got to be other auto draft. A little Freudian slip there, just called myself an auto drafter. But there has to be multiple teams auto drafting in this contest. I think maybe Big Diaz Energy here over at the turn is auto drafting. I think I saw that. But it's quite strange. Don't you guys find yourself in these rooms a lot of the time? You'll just see like, oh, Marshawn Lloyd, who as the day that I'm recording this, we just got the report that he's out with the rehab guys. Yeah, okay, there we go. So we do have, although 192, that is way ahead for Elijah Arroyo. But he is the guy at the turn is auto drafting. That is one thing you'll find as you draft throughout hot best ball summer on Underdog Fantasy is it's very annoying to be in rooms with auto drafters. And for these last two picks, I am going to give myself permission to slightly break this thought experiment, although not really, because I'm about to take Tyler Lockett at pick 198, and he goes exactly at 198.2. I mean, when you're begging for Tyler Lockett, the draft has gone a little bit sideways, and then hopefully De'Ami Brown is available for our last pick. And we didn't even get De'Ami Brown. De'Ami Brown goes at pick 202. Sidekick wants Chigakonkwo. We might actually finally get an ADP value. In round 18, we are finally going to get a smidgen of ADP. Sure, yeah, we're going to take, instead of taking Chigakonkwo, which is what the sidekick wants me to do, I'm going to take Jarquez Hunter, which gives us a final team. And we can even recap it here. So we got Bijan Robinson at 6, Ladd McConkey, Marvin Harrison Jr., DJ Moore, Joe Mixon, Juwan Jennings, Caleb Johnson, Brian Robinson Jr., Travis Kelce, Rashid Shaheed, Travis Etienne Jr., Trevor Lawrence, Dallas Goedert, Adam Thielen, Cam Ward, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, and Jarquez Hunter. This team did not feel fun to draft, but this team is cohesive. The stacks are not particularly great, and I think that is where the mathematics that go into some of the real-time tools and that make up for the difference in projected points that guys at ADP are going to come in to play. I definitely would not draft a team like this all that often on my own, but I do think it is important to keep at the front of your mind that the best predictor of the value of an individual team is how much both closing line ADP value you have and real-time ADP value that you have on one team. Everyone, make sure that you like the video. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not on Underdog yet, use promo code Davis to get on there. And yeah, subscribe to the channel for daily fantasy football videos.